My friend, I am here to tell you something that will shake the foundation of your reality. In just 1 hour, you can shift the course of your life if you dare to believe. You are not bound by circumstance, nor are you at the mercy of fate. The power to transform your world lies within you, waiting to be awakened. For too long, you have been told that change takes time, that struggle is necessary, that effort alone brings success. But I tell you now, imagination creates reality. And the moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the universe must conform. This is not theory. This is law, the law of assumption. What you persistently believe, you become. And in the next hour, I will show you how to harness this truth so powerfully that your life will never be the same again. Are you ready? Then let us begin. Imagination is the most powerful force in your life, though the world has taught you to overlook it, to dismiss it as mere fantasy. But I tell you, imagination creates reality. It is not an escape. It is the blueprint of all things, seen and unseen. Everything you have ever experienced, everything you now hold in your hands, was once an unseen idea, a fleeting thought, a whisper in the silence of your mind. And if you would only learn to control this force, to direct it deliberately, you would know what it means to hold true power. Your current life is nothing more than the outpicturing of past imaginal acts, whether conscious or unconscious. The relationships you have, the money in your bank account, the state of your health, all of it is the result of what you have accepted as true in your inner world. If you want to know what you have been imagining, simply look around you. Your world is a mirror reflecting your beliefs, your assumptions, your dominant mental diet. And if you do not like what you see, do not seek to change the mirror, change the source. Change your imagination and reality will follow. You have been conditioned to believe that life happens to you, that external forces control your destiny, that you must struggle and strive to achieve even the smallest things. But this is the great illusion, the lie that keeps mankind enslaved. The truth is, you are already creating at all times. The only question is, are you doing it deliberately or by default? Most people imagine without awareness, allowing fear, doubt, and limitation to shape their reality. They focus on what they do not want, and by the very nature of this law, they receive it. But the one who understands this principle, the one who awakens to their own creative power, begins to imagine intentionally, to live from the end, to see what the world cannot yet see, and soon what was once only an inner vision becomes an undeniable reality. It does not matter what your circumstances are at this moment. You could be in the depths of despair, drowning in debt, heartbroken, lost. But the moment you dare to assume a new reality, a shift begins. You do not need years. You do not even need months. You need only 1 hour of disciplined imagination, 1 hour of stepping into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and everything will begin to rearrange itself in accordance with your assumption. You see, reality is not fixed. It is fluid, malleable, responsive to the movements of your mind. The world will tell you that things take time, that success must be earned, that healing is a process. But I tell you, change is instantaneous. The moment you accept it as done. Right now, you may be questioning how something so simple could hold so much power. But do not be deceived by its simplicity. The greatest truths are always hidden in plain sight. When you close your eyes and imagine, when you feel yourself already possessing that which you desire, you are planting the seed. And the world must, by divine law, bring forth the harvest. It is not a matter of if, it is only a matter of persistence. Every great visionary, every individual who has reshaped history has understood this truth, whether consciously or unconsciously. They saw beyond the present, beyond appearances, and imagined the unseen until it became seen. Now it is your turn. In this very hour, you will prove it to yourself. Suspend disbelief, set aside doubt, and dare to imagine a new reality with conviction. Step into it fully, breathe it in. Let it be more real to you than anything your senses tell you. And when you rise from that state, walk in the knowing that it is already done. The world will catch up. It always does. The law of assumption is the secret behind every transformation, every success, every miracle you have ever witnessed. It is not about wishful thinking, nor is it about mere positive affirmations. It is the understanding that your reality conforms to your assumptions. Whatever you believe to be true will harden into fact. This is not a theory, it is an immutable law, operating with precision whether you recognize it or not. And once you understand it, once you consciously apply it, your life will never be the same. Look at your life right now. Every situation, every person you encounter, every opportunity or obstacle, it is all a reflection of what you have assumed to be true about yourself and the world. If you believe that life is a struggle, it will be. If you believe that success is difficult, it will be. If you believe that love is elusive, it will be. But the moment you change your assumption, the moment you dare to step into a new reality inwardly, everything outside of you must shift to match it. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Most people live in reaction to their circumstances. They allow their five senses to dictate what they believe, accepting the outer world as the ultimate reality. But this is the great deception. The outer world is merely a shadow, an echo of past assumptions. To live by the senses is to be a prisoner of the past, forever bound by what has been instead of what could be. But the one who understands the law of assumption no longer waits for proof. He creates it. He assumes the state of the wish fulfilled, not because he sees it yet, but because he knows that in assuming he makes it so. You must train yourself to think from the end, not of it. To think of your desire is to keep it at a distance, forever separate from you, but to think from it is to embody it now, to wear it like a garment, to breathe it in as if it were already yours. And in doing so, you collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be. The assumption, once deeply felt, moves unseen forces, shifting the very fabric of reality to bring about its fulfillment. This is where many falter. They assume for a moment, but then they look around, see no immediate change, and fall back into doubt. They allow the senses to dictate their faith, but faith is not about seeing, it is about knowing. The world will always test you, asking, "Do you really believe?" And your answer must always be yes, unwaveringly so. The only difference between those who manifest their desires and those who do not is persistence. It is the willingness to hold the assumption even when the evidence says otherwise, to remain steadfast in the unseen until it becomes seen. What if, for the next hour, you refuse to entertain any thought contrary to your desire? What if, for just 1 hour, you lived fully in the assumption that your wish was already fulfilled? Imagine it with all your senses. Feel it as if it were happening now. Hear the voices congratulating you. See yourself in possession of the very thing you seek. Touch it, taste it, breathe it in, and most importantly, carry that feeling with you beyond the hour. Do not revert to the old state. Remain in the new one, unwavering. The world may tell you that such a thing is impossible, that you must work hard, struggle, or wait for the right time. But the law of assumption knows no limitations, no delays, no obstacles. The moment you assume, it is done. Reality must yield. It is not a matter of if, it is only a matter of when. And if you persist, that when will come sooner than you ever imagined. The power of the present moment is the key to all transformation. There is no past holding you back, no future that you must wait for. Everything that you seek, everything that you desire exists now. But the question is, are you aware of it? Are you conscious of the infinite possibilities that surround you at this very instant? Or are you trapped in the illusion of time, believing that your dreams are somewhere in the distant future, always just out of reach? Most people live in a state of waiting. They wait for the right conditions, the right opportunities, the right moment to finally claim what they desire. But this waiting is the very thing that keeps them stuck. For as long as you believe that what you seek is separate from you, it will remain so. The secret is to bring it into the now, to embody it fully in the present, to no longer defer your joy, your abundance, your success to some unknown time ahead. The present moment is the only reality. Everything else is a construct of the mind. The past is nothing but a collection of memories, stored impressions of what once was, but it has no power except the power you give it. The future is nothing more than a projection, an idea shaped by your current state of consciousness, and yet people allow the past to dictate their future, living in the cycle of repetition, reliving the same experiences over and over because they do not realize that at any moment they have the power to break free. How? By shifting consciousness now, by assuming the state of the wish fulfilled in this very moment, not tomorrow, not next week, now. The instant you accept a new reality in your mind, you have claimed it as yours. And because the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state, it must conform. It has no choice. Reality is fluid, ever-changing, bending to match the assumption you hold in the present. Many make the mistake of believing that change is a gradual process, that it takes time to shift circumstances. But time itself is an illusion, a construct that only exists because we have accepted it as real. Change is not something that happens slowly over weeks or months. It happens the moment you fully assume a new state of being. The moment you let go of the old and embrace the new, the shift has already occurred. The rest is simply the unfolding, the bridge of events that must naturally lead you to the manifestation. In this very hour, you have the power to transform your entire life. Right now, in this moment, you can assume a new reality so vividly that it overrides all previous assumptions. Close your eyes and see yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel it as real, not as something you are trying to attain, but as something you already are. If you can do this with conviction, the external world must rearrange itself to match your assumption. This is law. But do not fall into the trap of checking for results. The need to see immediate proof only signals doubt, and doubt collapses the assumption. Instead, trust the unseen. Remain in the state of fulfillment even when the senses show you nothing. Walk as if it were already done. Speak as if it were already so. Live from the end result, and soon the evidence will appear, not because you forced it, but because you became it. You do not need more time. You do not need better conditions. You only need awareness, the awareness that everything you seek already exists now. Assume it fully, step into it completely, and watch as reality bends to reflect the truth of your being. The moment before sleep is the most powerful moment of your day. It is the doorway to creation, the bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind, the point where you hold the greatest influence over your reality. Most people drift into sleep carrying with them the worries of the day, replaying their failures, doubts, and fears. And without realizing it, they impress these negative emotions onto their subconscious, allowing them to harden into fact. But I tell you now, if you would only use this sacred moment correctly, you could transform your life in ways beyond your imagination. Your subconscious mind does not discriminate. It does not question what is true or false. It simply accepts whatever you repeatedly impress upon it, especially in the drowsy state before sleep when your mind is most receptive. Whatever you take into sleep, you plant deep within the fertile soil of your subconscious. And just like a seed placed in the earth, it will grow, taking form in your physical world. This is why it is critical that you never allow yourself to fall asleep in a state of lack, fear, or limitation. Instead, you must deliberately assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled before drifting into unconsciousness. You do not need to see evidence. You do not need to figure out the how. You only need to enter the state akin to sleep. Relax your body, quiet your mind, and impress upon yourself the reality you wish to experience. Imagine it vividly, as if it were happening right now. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the satisfaction of already possessing that which you desire. Make it so real in your imagination that you drift into sleep, fully convinced that it is done. And when you wake, you will find that the world has begun to shift, responding to the new assumption you have impressed upon it. This is the secret used by all who have mastered the art of creation. They do not beg, they do not struggle, they do not wish, they assume. They step into the reality they desire mentally, and they persist in that state until the world must conform. And the most powerful time to do this is in the stillness before sleep, when the conscious mind relaxes its grip and the subconscious takes over. It is here that you have direct access to the creative power that you may wonder, how can something so simple be so effective? But that is the nature of all great truths. They are simple yet profound. The only reason most people do not see results is that they fail to persist. They allow doubt to creep in, checking for proof, questioning if it is working. But faith does not ask for proof. Faith knows. And if you can fall asleep night after night, feeling as though your desire is already fulfilled, you will see with your own eyes how swiftly reality bends to match your inner world. Tonight, before you close your eyes, take control of your final thoughts. Do not let the worries of the day dictate your state. Instead, enter sleep as the person you wish to be. See yourself already living the life you desire. Feel the warmth of success, the embrace of love, the security of abundance. Make it real, and when you wake, carry that feeling with you, knowing that the work has already been done. The seed has been planted, the harvest is inevitable. This is the power hidden within the simplest act: falling asleep. Use it wisely. Let each night be a rehearsal for the life you are creating. And soon, you will wake up to a world transformed, one that matches the vision you have impressed upon your subconscious. Persistence is the key that unlocks every door, the force that turns imagination into reality, the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Many understand the principles of manifestation. They visualize, they affirm, they assume. But then, when reality does not immediately conform, they falter. They begin to doubt, they question, they check for signs. And in doing so, they undo the very work they have begun. But I tell you, the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not intelligence, not luck, not external conditions. It is persistence, the ability to hold on to the assumption until it hardens into fact. Reality is nothing more than the reflection of your dominant state of consciousness. It is a mirror, showing you not what you want, but what you persist in believing to be true. If you look in the mirror and see something undesirable, you do not try to change the reflection itself. You change yourself, and the reflection follows. But most people do the opposite. They let the mirror dictate their state. They assume for a moment, but then they check their bank account, their job status, their relationships, and when they see no change, they let doubt creep in. They return to their old assumptions, not realizing that reality is simply delayed, that the unseen forces are already at work, rearranging themselves in accordance with their assumption. If only they had persisted a little longer, they would have seen the evidence materialize. This is why persistence is everything. The world outside of you is slow to catch up to the world within. It takes time for what is imagined to take form. But the process is already in motion the moment you assume it is done. And if you refuse to waver, if you refuse to entertain contradictory thoughts, if you remain steadfast in your conviction, then what you have assumed must become your reality. It is not a possibility, it is law. Do not be deceived by appearances. The outer world may seem unchanged, but that does not mean your assumption is not working. Seeds take time to sprout, and yet you do not dig up the soil every day to see if the seed is growing. You trust the process. You water it, nurture it, give it sunlight, knowing that in due time it must break through the surface. So it is with manifestation. The moment you assume a new reality, the seed is planted. Your only job is to persist, to hold firm in the conviction that it is already done, even when your senses suggest otherwise. You may say, but I have tried and nothing has changed. I tell you, the only reason you have not seen results is that you have allowed yourself to be moved by doubt. You have entertained thoughts contrary to your assumption, even if only for a moment. And in doing so, you have uprooted the seed before it could take root. If you would only persist, if you would only remain unshakable in your belief, you would see how quickly reality bends to your will. The great ones, the visionaries, the pioneers of all great achievements, they did not waver. They did not let the lack of evidence deter them. They walked in the conviction of their vision long before the world recognized it. They persisted when others doubted, when circumstances seemed impossible, when every sign pointed against them. And because they persisted, the world had no choice but to conform. So I ask you now, will you persist? Will you hold on to your assumption even in the face of doubt, in the face of delay, in the face of opposition? Because if you do, if you refuse to let go, then what you have assumed is as good as yours. It must come. It must solidify. It must take form. The only thing standing between you and your desire is your willingness to persist until it hardens into fact. Faith is not hoping. Faith is not wishing. Faith is knowing, an unshakable certainty that what you desire is already yours, even when there is no visible evidence. Most people misunderstand faith. They believe it to be a fragile thing, something easily lost when circumstances do not align with their expectations. But true faith is immovable. It does not waver when met with delay, nor does it crumble in the face of opposition. It stands firm, unmoved by appearances, because it knows that reality must conform to its assumption. Your current reality is nothing more than a reflection of your past states of consciousness. If you do not like what you see, you must change your inner world first. But this requires faith, the ability to trust in the unseen, to believe in a reality that has not yet materialized. The moment you assume something is true, it begins to take shape in the invisible realm. But if you doubt, if you question, if you wait for proof before believing, then you halt the process. Faith does not ask for proof, faith is proof. Most people live by sight, believing only in what their senses confirm. They say, I will believe it when I see it. But this is not faith, this is merely observation. True faith reverses this order. It says, I will see it because I believe it. It does not wait for conditions to change. It changes the conditions. It does not react to the world. It dictates what the world must become. And when this faith is sustained, when it is held unwaveringly, it becomes a force that no obstacle can resist. You must cultivate a faith so strong that nothing in the external world can shake it. You must live as though your desire is already fulfilled. Speak as though it is done. Think from the end rather than of the end. The moment you do this, you set unseen forces into motion. The universe begins to shift. People are moved. Circumstances rearrange themselves in ways beyond your comprehension. But if you allow doubt to creep in, if you constantly check for evidence, if you waver between belief and disbelief, then you delay what is already in motion. Faith requires persistence. It demands that you hold to your vision even when the world tells you otherwise. If you desire wealth, you must feel wealthy now, not when the money arrives. If you desire love, you must feel loved now, not when someone enters your life. If you desire success, you must feel successful now, not when the results appear. The feeling must precede the fact, for the fact is born from the feeling. This is the great secret. The greatest test of faith is in the waiting. There will be moments when doubt whispers in your ear, when circumstances seem unchanged, when everything around you suggests that your assumption is false. This is where most people fail. They give up too soon, not realizing that the manifestation was already in progress. But those who persist, those who refuse to let go of their assumption, those who stand firm in their faith despite all appearances, these are the ones who see their desires take form. Look at your life now. What do you believe to be true about yourself? Whatever it is, that belief is shaping your reality. If you wish to change your world, you must first change your assumptions. And once you assume a new reality, you must hold to it with unwavering faith. The moment you claim something in consciousness, it is yours. The only thing that can delay it is your own doubt. Faith is power. It is the force that turns imagination into reality. It is the key that unlocks every door. It is not passive. It is active, alive, and unshakable. And the moment you embody it fully, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you.